Have you ever been made to feel you were not good enough, not pretty enough, not smart enough, not enough? You were created with a specific purpose and with a specific design. Christian Women Television Network is created with you in mind. It is a place for Christian women to amplify their voice and level up their media exposure while making a massive impact on the world through your mission-driven calling. Welcome to your network, Christian Women Television Network, a legacy production.
Welcome to Curves, where we are creating unforgettable resources, value, and empowerment status for Christian women entrepreneurs. Now, here's our host, DrFaye.
Well, let's see. Welcome everybody. Here I am. I promise you, this is me. I am so excited about today's show. I'm always excited because we have some amazing guests to come right here on Curves, where we are creating unforgettable resources, value, and empowerment status for Christian women. And we believe that it's time for women to come out of silence, to come out of hiding, to stop playing small so that we won't offend and we won't rock the boat. Well, I have a boat rocker here with me today. I have someone who's a mover and a shaker, who's been doing phenomenal things. She has an extensive bio, and we're going to learn more about what she does rather than my just talking about her. Why don't we just bring her forth and let her tell us about herself? I can tell you this: she's a transformational mentor, coach, speaker, author, mover and shaker, and she does not play small. And that's why she is my very special guest today, all the way from the great UK, is Leila Khan. Leila, welcome to Curves, my friend.
Hi, I'm so excited to be back in conversation with you. Thank you for that intro.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you for having so much. You've created footprints across the globe and being able to transform lives. I know that you have a book, 100. You remember we did the show up and we talked a lot about that book, and I kept tripping over the title for so long. So instead of my doing that today, you tell us about the book and the impact that it had on the lives. So guys, welcome Leila Khan here with me today on Curves. Go, Leila, tell us about it.
Yeah, so my book is called 101 Plus Ways. It's the plus that everyone gets like a little bit mixed up, but 101 plus ways to overcome life's biggest obstacles. And this is a guide to handling any problem with ease. And I wrote this book because there wasn't anything like it out there. And it's all about personal empowerment. It's all about tapping into your inner resources, your God-given gifts and talents, creative solutions and all of that, especially when we're going through stress or anxiety or depression or low self-confidence and self-worth and all of the things that really affect all of us when we believe we're not enough or we're not worthy and stuff. And so I wrote this book. It's full of like 10 chapters with creative solutions to overcome any obstacle and turn it into the opportunity that it actually is. And that opportunity is soul growth, personal growth, deeper connection with God, and just being able to walk through life with this wonderment and this like curiosity at just how beautiful life can be no matter what we have been through.
Wow, that is so huge, because in this marketplace right now, in the around the world, the entire planet is suffering from post-COVID effect. And I don't know what that means, except that I just made it up. But anyway, this
it was good.
I mean, all words made up. And so people are looking for themselves again, how to even feel again, how to even think again. Where do I belong? Who am I? What do I do with this new found freedom, if you will, for some who are now working remotely, who have never experienced that before? You know, back in the days when we were doing Lighten Up and we were using technology then, and we were the only Zoom kids on the block pretty much as far as surviving. then all of a sudden it was a crowded space. So people were finding out about this new technology, and now they've become accustomed to it. And so there's a lot of newness, a lot of different feelings and emotional highs and lows, mental health at an all-time high. And women, because we are such fillers and emotional creatures, we tend to take the bulk of anything that comes along because we are the nurturers. So it is my personal belief. I've done no stats, I've done no research, and I don't believe a lot of those who have done it. I don't believe those numbers. But what I do know is that I know us.
Yes.
I know us. And because I know us, I know that we have taken the bulk of the pain, the bulk of the hurt, the bulk of the concerns. And so we're coming out with that. But how do we deal with these obstacles? Because your book is like, right now, it's like you wrote it then, but it's so relevant now to what's happening. So let's talk about that, because the theme, folks, is how the theme is what? The theme is, Christian, women entrepreneurs and how they impact the global economy. And we can't make an impact upon anything until we are healed, until we are solid in our identity. So Leila, let's gear the conversation in that direction. How do women deal with this environment right now?
Yeah, so everything, I would just side note, because I do this a lot, I digress, but every time we connect, I always get goosebumps and just beautiful chills, and it's like, oh my God, I love being in conversation with you about this, because we're so much on the same page, we're so much on the same page and wanting to support, female entrepreneurs rising up into their next level. So with everything that's happened over the past few years, like I wrote the book in 2012. I started writing in 2012, 2013. And there was, I was doing public speaking engagements. I was putting myself out there, putting on my own event in Glasgow in Scotland. And it was all mainly around personal transformation and mental well-being and mental health. Now, it was a challenge for me to be booked onto speaking engagements, which is why I created my own success and followed my heart. I was like, I'm not going to wait for somebody to give me an opportunity. I'm going to go create my own, and that's what we do. That is what we do as women. And so what I came across was great conversations with my events filling up, and also blocks. And the blocks were kind of, from other people who were not interested in mental well-being. They were not interested in emotional intelligence. They weren't interested in going deeper into our own human psyche and the bigger picture of life. They weren't interested in wanting to know how to overcome obstacles. And that was an obstacle for me. And so, like I said, I created these opportunities where I was in front. So I'd go on social media, I'd go live, I'd share posts, and I still do it every single day. I share content on social media, newsletter, and, I've got so many avenues. But what that's done for me is it supported me in getting this message out there, which is that all of us are capable of overcoming any obstacle and seeing it for what the opportunity is. So where you mentioned, I remember about, us being the first Zoom kids and so on, and you were a pro with it. You were using Restream even then. I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. But you were a step ahead, you were trailblazing. And what the past few years have done for us, in particular as women, is we've had to get creative. We've had to look at new ways to work and to move through the world as women. Now, I've always truly believed in the power that a woman has, and this connection to source, this connection to God, which no one can ever disconnect. No one can come between,
Yeah.
And so the past few years, I know for myself, like I after our show, I actually slipped in my connection with God. And it's been an incredible journey of the past 18 months to actually get that back and to be closer and closer in union. That's what I call it, in divine union with God. And so the past few years, I truly believe has been a time for all of us to connect back to source, to connect back to actually what matters, to connect back to caring about each other from our heart and soul, to take care of our bodies, to talk lovingly, speak lovingly to our body, through our body, you know, this vessel that we have, to release and unleash our visions, which are God-given. You know, our imagination is God, essentially. And so we get to tap into resources that haven't come through yet, but they exist within each woman. And it takes bravery and courage to say, I'm going to manifest this. I'm going to create this vision. I'm going to stay loyal and faithful to what I feel within. And I know that it's come from God. I know that this serves humanity. You know what I'm like? I go on and on and on.
It's all good stuff, on and on and on and on, no downside. And, you know, as you're sharing that, and I feel the calling and the mission to help women to understand their own power and to walk in that own power and to really hone in on it and not feel guilty about it. Do it unapologetically, that it's okay to be powerful. It's okay to walk in your own stilettos and make no apologies for doing so. It's okay to be a trailblazer, a pioneer, an apostolic anointing, to be able to go in there. If there's no highway, make a highway in the wilderness. If there's no water, dig a hole. If that's no water there, dig another hole, because by design, there's water underneath the earth. So you just have to hit the right spot, and you continue to do that. You continue with the shovel. If the shovel doesn't work, go get a bulldozer, whatever it takes, get your water, baby, and bring it home. And so women have a power, and the power that we have just because God chose to give us a womb, because that in itself is not only a physical power, it is also a spiritual power. It's an emotional power, that we have the ability to give birth to miracles. We have the ability to give birth to cities. We have the ability to give birth to businesses and dreams, yet unfulfilled. And you talked about that, going back to the source and using the power of that imagination to create, because imagination means create many movies inside of yourself. When you create these many movies inside of yourself, they can't help but to formulate into the 3D realm. They begin to come forth, because that's exactly what God did for us, Leila. He made us co-creators. And that is, I don't want to say that it's been played down. I just want to say that most people don't know. And they're destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Most people have not come into that awareness. When you're locked into a culture that believes a certain way, that's, you know, the pandemic has had a lot of there was a lot of bad things that happened. There were people saying it wasn't real. I said, well, it was real when my brother-in-law passed away. It was real when I had family members getting sick. That was very real stuff. So for all the people who say that it wasn't real and it was hoax, it was this, it was that, people died. Lives were totally affected for the rest of their lives. People are still suffering. And so it did a lot of bad things, but there's an upside even to the bad. And the upside is opportunity, overcoming obstacles. The good news about those of you who are listening right now and those people who are still breathing on this planet is that you made it through it. You're on the other side of it. And since you got on the other side of that, just think about the tremendous other things that you can accomplish now, because God brought you through that. He can certainly build your business. He can multiply your client base. He can certainly improve your health and increase your wealth. He can certainly do those things, but never forgetting, as Leila, I'm so glad you brought that out, never forgetting that he's the source. We are the resource, but he's the source. So we take what he's given us and then we pour it out into the world. We become the well that never, oh my. We become the well that never runs dry. And of this, there is no end. 101 plus ways to overcome.
It's all in there. It activates you. But yeah, no, I was going to say, like, I'm so glad that you brought up birth and the womb, because as women, we do have, and I'll say this always, I'll constantly say this, we do have a direct connection to source, to God. And it's because of our womb. And our womb is the most precious, it's the most precious resource, you could say, but it's the most precious part of who we are as women, because it's the space where, of course, we physically kind of birth and grow the dream, and we grow something that was just a seed and just an idea and a seed, and it became something more. We have this portal within us, this deeply, deeply powerful portal to birth. And whether we birth children or not, doesn't actually matter. What we have is the absolute 100% capability to birth our soul desires, to birth what is in our imagination, to birth transformation. And transformation means we're birthing something new. Transformation means you were here and now you are there, and you go along the journey along the way to be in this space. And you mentioned identity earlier on, and a lot of the work that I do with my clients, in particular one-to-one clients and through my group programs as well, is all around identity. Who are you today? Who do you want to become? And the who do you want to become, I always say, ensure that that is who you actually are at your true, in your essence, as God created you, because this is who you are here to be. This, where you are right now, can become like more and more, better and better, and closer to that version that God created you as. And the conditioning of the world that we live in does not enable us, or it doesn't support us on the whole to be as God created us.
Yes, and that's why Curve was born, to help women be who God has created us to be. And because most of us are programmed to be what society, culture, parents, religion, whatever, the husband, the children, to be all of those externals and never get to the point like, who am I? Who am I really? What is my, and we focus on the calling before we focus on the called.
Yes.
Like, I am who I am. And so I do what the I am is doing, so that I have what the I am is having. So in our culture, in our society, we have been taught in reverse. Go after the thing. Go after the haves, the haves and the have-nots, and how to get the thing, how to get the car, how to get the woman, how to get the man, how to get the thing. And then when we get the thing, we find that we still don't know who we are. So we get upset when he walks out the door. We get upset because the kids don't call or come home. We get upset when the clients don't say yes. Yeah. We get upset when the business didn't make the $1 million. All of these things shake us because we went after the thing. When we change that and start doing what God did, see the end from the beginning and then work it out. See where you're going, because that's what imagination will do, creating those small movies, those small pictures inside of ourselves. Create it from the end, with the end in mind, and start walking it out from that place within. It can't help but to manifest. Deuteronomy 28 says, do what God is telling us to do, which that's what he's telling us to be, who he created us to be. We will have what God has for us, and no one can stop it. Leila, what I'm trying to say, Leila, is that women have been trained, been conditioned, been taught to be something that we're really not. And when God has called us to be co-creators with him, we get the opportunity to be everything that we were originally designed to be. Now, I just want to point out something from the very beginning of time as we know it, is that in the beginning, God did something. And when God created man from the ground, God looked and saw that it wasn't good that man be alone. or man walk by himself. So he created woman. He took woman out of him. And that's been preached and taught as if she's a second-class citizen, that she's an afterthought of God, that she's a minor in the tribe of human beings, when it is not so. What God did was that he expanded what he had already created. He made it bigger and better so that the two are one, which means one means the same. One means identical, that there is no more separation. But because especially women in the religious tribes have been conditioned to believe that they have to walk behind a man and not as an equal. Side by side means equal. And Jesus completed that work, and to make sure that we understood it in St. John 17, that they may be one. Not, he didn't say so that men would know we're one. No, that they may be one as we are one. So women, let me tell you, sisters, we have a responsibility to own the bigness that's inside of us. God is being God through us. God, who is wanting to exercise his voice through us, his wisdom through us. Matter of fact, Proverbs 8 called wisdom a her, a she, a female. So wisdom, and it also says wisdom will build a house. Did you know that? It actually teaches us that wisdom builds a house, and that wisdom is a she. And then in New Testament, it also says Christ is our wisdom. So there's a female side of God, whether people will own it or not. If there's not a feminine side of God, then God does not exist, because God is one. So in this show, women, the women entrepreneurship and how it affects the global economy is an extremely important conversation here on Curves. And Leila, you are one of those women, and you're affecting the global economy. You are on stages, you are teaching, you are speaking, you've written this wonderful book, 101 Plus Ways How to Overcome
Life's Biggest Obstacles. That way.
Life's biggest obstacles. Now, when you wrote that book a few years ago, and you know what, and books are funny. You can write them in one decade, and then the world hears about it in the next. That's just, as long as you get it out, God does the rest, you know? He doesn't want us to be attached to the outcome, but he he just wants us to do what he says. Just release it. And some of you are saying, well, you know, she heard God, but I'm not hearing. You know what? What's the unctioning? What's the punch that you have inside? What is the fire telling you to do? The thing that you're in the middle of the night and you want to do. Then do what you want to do, because then you will find that it's the thing that you were supposed to do in the first place.
Yes.
So 101 ways, 101 plus ways how to overcome life's biggest obstacles.
Yay!
This is a book whose season has come, but when you wrote it, it was certainly a pivotal point for a number of people, particularly in Hollywood. So tell us about that.
Yeah, well, so we'll come to the Hollywood part in a second, right? But I really want to speak to what you've mentioned there about it coming through you, because this is the thing that those of us who are creatives, those of us who are co-creators with God, those women who have this deeper calling within them, which is different from other women, which is different from other people, because it is meant to be, because you were made and created different, is so important, right? So this book, when I started writing it in 2012, 2013, it was coming through me. It was literally, I was downloading it. It was coming through me. I was channeling it. I was not writing it from my mind. My physical action, first of all, my intention was to write a book that was going to transform the world, right? And that was going to transform millions of lives around the world. That was my first intention. I always knew I wanted to write, and life carried on. I'll be 42 at the end of this month, because we're the 1st of November. So I'll be 42 at the end of this month. And I knew that this book was going to come through me at some point. And it literally was just I needed to just sit down, make the decision that I'm going to go to a coffee shop, or I'm going to go to my office, and I'm just going to sit and just let the words come through. And I typed and typed and typed and typed until my fingers literally hurt, and I was like, I cannot type anymore. And I remember that, there were times where I was typing for 8 hours a day. I would not stop. And then I would take a break for, a couple of weeks just to give myself, literally to give my hands a break. And then I'd come back to it. But what I did is I listened to that calling within. I heard the call, I listened to that calling, and I took action on it. And I didn't question what was coming through. I didn't question, to the best of my abilities. I believed that I was worthy enough to have this message come through, and that it was going to impact humanity. Because really, for those of us who are female entrepreneurs here, we are here to impact the world. And of course, we are here to be compensated financially for it as well, because that is part of God's plan. And so I wrote the book. And it did really well pre-sales, did well, selling on its own as well. And this was not part of my plan, but something incredible manifested when my book made it all the way to Hollywood, and it was gifted to 50 celebrities during the Oscar Awards. And and Ellen DeGeneres and all these different people received a copy of my book. We're talking about Morgan Freeman, Jane Fonda, Lupita Nyong'o, Octavia Spencer. We're talking about like the most incredible, some of the most incredible actors and actresses and media movers and shakers and celebrities, if you want to use that word, who received a copy of my book. That was not in my plan. Like, I was more than happy to just be like, a little introverted self, just in my own little world, going to the gym, sharing things on social media, coaching women to the next level. But God had another plan. And I had to get myself out of the way, meaning I had to get the ego that was afraid out of the way and work on my self-worth, because it's always a journey. It's always a journey. And I had to just lean into it, surrender into trusting God, and trusting that God was using me to do good in this world, and to reach people and to reach women in avenues that, they might not have seen someone before. So it's been incredible.
Yeah, when you're in the coffee shop, you're typing till your fingers are just weak, and but you're typing from an inner place, because there's a message that has to be heard, and it is heard through your book. And there are people who are waiting to read that message, and that's the only way that they will take it, is through this book. What was the impact that your book had on people, or is having on people now? What kind of testimonies and stories are you getting back from the labor of love with your fingers?
I love that question, because really that's what this comes down to. When you follow your heart and you create from within, it is all about what is the impact, And so I've had, over the years, I've had many testimonials and messages from my readers from all over the world who've said, like, I've had these ones will always get me. I've had about 5 people message me over the years saying reading my book has saved them from suicide, from taking their own life. Like, that's huge. That is massive, to be able to read someone's words and be impacted by them. So for somebody to read my words and what was coming through me with so much grace and so much power, for somebody in this world that I've never met before to say, I loved your book, thank you so much, it actually stopped me from taking my own life. There is no impact greater than that, to be honest with you. With the kind of work that I do, there is no impact greater than that. And I've had many readers still to this day who say that, they use my book to dip in and out of, and or open it to a page, and they'll read the message for the day, and they'll travel with it, and they've taken it all over the world with them, and they've shared it as well. So I recently left a high school that I was working at, and I'd been there for about 3 years, and I wanted to gift my students a copy of my book. as you know, as a goodbye gift, and also to just say thank you for being so amazing, and to wish them well. And there was one student, I gave him the book, say it was on the Tuesday. By the Wednesday, he didn't have the book because one of his female cousins had seen the book that night, and she was like, "Yep, I'm going to take this," and took it away, somewhere else in Scotland, and has the book. Because she really resonated with it, and so it's having a ripple effect in really positive ways, because what it does is it awakens or it activates creative solutions within you. Like, how do we overcome depression? How do we move through the causes and the effect of depression so that we can actually be true to ourselves and live in the present moment? That takes skill, it takes practice, it takes strategy, it takes self-reflection and self-awareness, and those are the pieces of the puzzle that most people are missing because they're being distracted by social media or the TV or drama here and there, and they're not listening to what's within. They're being distracted unintentionally in many ways by the devil, by they're being distracted, and they are being used away from their connection to source.
Yeah, absolutely. There's seduction in the world, huge spirit of seduction. And matter of fact, I'm doing a teaching. I have a speaking engagement this weekend, and I'm going to address seduction exposed and how to be healed and be free and be yourself and be okay with you. Fall in love with you. The God that loves you wants you to love you too. And the only way that we can do that is to get into that place of quietness and meditation, because it's so noisy. It's so noisy in the world, and not only online is noisy, but offline is pretty noisy also, since everyone is returning to quote unquote normal. It's gotten noisy again. So how do you discover your own self? You got to introduce yourself to yourself, being mindful that you matter, being mindful that the only way you can serve others is to serve yourself first.
Yep.
Back to putting the oxygen over yourself first when in flight, and then you can serve others. You can't dive in the water as a lifeguard without knowing skills. You have to have these skills. That's what coaching brings to the table. People like these analogies I have, but that's what coaching brings to the table. It's the lifeguard with skills. Even if you know how to swim, you feel better knowing that there's a lifeguard there just in case. And so you want to put yourself in the company of people who can help pull you up. I heard someone say that if you are the smartest one in the room, you need a better set of friends, because you need people who are going to help pull you up, folks. And so understand that getting into the quiet place, and that's what Curves will do for you, help you to get in a better circle of friends. We'll have entrepreneurs, businessmen and women on this show. And I told a friend of mine, I said, the show is Curves. He's like, okay, it doesn't matter what the name of the show is. We can address the issue. And to help you get into that place where you actually identify who you are and start loving yourself some you. Now, we can put on, Leila, we're good at this. We can put on makeup, we can get our hair and our nails done and still be a shipwreck inside.
Yeah.
With the issue.
There's so much with that as well. But I think it's really important for us as women to be connected to our inner beauty and inner radiance, where we feel like we are beautiful on the outside as well. Like I don't think it's a bad thing to accept that we are beautiful, because that's how God created us. For me, like, it's just never been a thing where I'm like, well, I mean, I did definitely struggle for a long time, kind of accepting how I look. But when I realized that this is how God created me, and I'm being disrespectful if if I disagree with how
Yeah.
God created me. Like, I'm just, do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so I'm kinder to myself because I also know what other people can be like. And you've got the haters, you've got the ones who'll say, you know, who'll criticize and say something horrible and so on. And of course, we all have them, especially if we're online. But what this really comes down to is your connection to yourself, your relationship to yourself, which
Yeah.
is the most important one. Like, I put my relationship on kind of a couple of tiers. Like, my relationship with God is the most important relationship. Then my relationship with myself is the most important relationship. Then my relationship with my partner is the most important relationship. And then it filters down into friends, family, customers, clients, business, audience, blah, blah, blah. No one's higher or anything like that. But the hierarchy, well, you could say the relationship I value the most is the one with God and then myself. Because when I take care of myself, then I have more to give. And we are giving humans, you know, those of us here, we have a heart and soul full of giving. But here's the thing. When you give from an empty space, you are not giving as fully. So one of the ways, like, this may help somebody out there listening, one of the ways that I replenish my own connection with myself and with Source, with God, every day is I get up and I meditate. I wake up, first of all, with gratitude that I'm alive, and I'm so grateful to be alive and to be breathing, because anything could have happened during the night. And then, you know, I get myself ready and I'll do my meditation. I'll connect to God with gratitude and appreciation. I'll spend time journaling. And this is another way to really find out, to kind of clear the mind. You know, what are you thinking? What are your emotions? Where are you at with things? What are you manifesting, bringing in your future self? You're using that time to connect with yourself. And then I'll go and do some exercise. I'll go to the gym and work out and move my vessel, move this energy within. Now that is all time, it's me time. And I claim it and I own it and it's mine. And then what happens by 11 o'clock, by 11 a.m., I have the whole day to give, to write content, to share blogs, to share on social media, to work with my clients, to create products, to do interviews, to reconnect with friends, to network, to be there for others, to support my friends and family, to be there with my partner, to have a great time. And it's all because I started the day off connecting with Source, connecting with myself, making sure I have met my needs to the best of my abilities. And now I can give a heart full of everything, all the love that I can muster, and share with the world. And it's an incredible, it's not even a process, it's just the way that I am. And it works so powerfully. So hopefully that will help somebody out there today.
Yeah, I'm sure, because you gave step by step of what you do. So therefore others can pick up that particular pattern, maybe not in the exact order or whatever, but have some system in place that puts you first and that you matter. Because when you put out that energy, that flow out into the world, when you matter to you, you will matter to others. And you tell when someone is self-loving and when they're self-hating. And sadly, I see more people hating themselves or abhorring or criticizing themselves because of whatever reason than loving themselves. So we want to change that here on Curves and help bring entrepreneurs like Leila Khan to this show to help you learn how to fall in love with you. And there is a prayer that you can pray. And I'm telling you, it's a simple prayer. And God will give you systems that will be in concert, in harmony with what he has called you to be, do, and have. But this is a simple prayer that's universal. So I'm going to leave you with that today. And then we're going to tell you how to get in touch with Leila. This simple prayer is, I tell you what, Leila, tell them how to get in touch with you. And I'm going to deposit this prayer into the atmosphere. And so that everybody can leave with this prayer. Tell us how to.
Yeah, so connect with me on social media and my website. So my website is leilakhanauthor.com. So it's spelled Leila and then Khan, Khan, author.com. On Instagram, I'm at Leila A. Khan. So there's 2 A's in my handle. I'm going to be doing a lot more on YouTube as well. So at Leila Khan is my handle on YouTube. I've got podcasts, I've got my newsletter. In fact, come and join my newsletter through my website because I share exclusive content through there on how you can shift into your best version, your greatest version, bringing all the self-love and all of that as well. So yeah, connect with me. Let me know that you've come from the show, and you can get a free downloadable version of my book as well through my website, and all my courses are on there as well. But yeah, I just love connecting, and I'd love to hear how our conversation today has impacted you.
That is wonderful. Thanks again, Leila, for being here. You are such a blessing. So if you hang out for just a couple of minutes in the green room, I'll be back with you in a moment. Folks, I'm telling you, this show gets gooder and gooder, better and better. And I'm sure we're adding some extra flavor to your life to just help you to pause for a moment and think about what you're thinking about. Begin to meditate, begin to journal, begin to get up, take a walk. And you may think, well, I don't have any place to walk. Maybe you live in an area where you don't have a gym. I don't know what your life could be, but you just stand up and stretch, just let your body know, hey, I'm here, stretch, do something. Do some squats, get a ball, one of those exercise balls. I have one downstairs, and just get on one and just do some whatever you can do. Just letting your body know that you appreciate it. The Bible says that we are the temple of God. So, and Leila talked about that. Since we are the temple of God, let's treat these bodies like they are. So I'm paying more attention. Leila says she's paying more attention. So we want you to pay more attention, because we can't give away what we don't possess. We want to be strong, live long, but be strong. So as I promised you, I want to have this little prayer, share this little prayer with you, so that you can use it in your daily waking, your everyday waking, walking, talking moments, in the morning and in the evenings, and even throughout the day, because it will bless your life. And let me tell you, the simple things in life are still the most powerful. So this is the prayer I want you to pray. Father God, teach me to love me the way that you love me. That's it. No magic potion, no 20 scriptures to remember. Father, teach me to love me the way that you love me. And if you'll do that, ladies and gentlemen, you will find yourself filled with love to the full, to the overflow. Thank you again for watching us here on Curves. Thank my special guest, Leila Khan, today. Make sure you get in touch with her at leilakhan.com. So until next time, remember, the calling is a gift, but the choice is yours. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye now.
The woman's global influence has yet to be realized. Curves offer Christian women entrepreneurs the opportunity to share their mission-driven and heart-centered businesses while staying true to their calling. If you'd like to be a guest on our show, contact us today at coach@drfaye.com. That's coach@drfaye.com.
Thank you for watching today's show. All of our programs are designed to help you create the life you were born to live from the inside out. The show you have just seen is an example of the quality and standard of care we here at CWTVN put into creating a media atmosphere that transcends boundaries and ignites transformation. We would love hearing from you. Contact us at 1-877-870-7579 or email at host@CWTVN. All donations can be sent using Cash App at DrFaye TV, PayPal at paypal@drfaye.com, or mail to P.O. Box 251, Stuttgart, Arkansas 72160.